Exterior, Cassie's house, night. Cassie has worked her way through the shockingly impassable tangle of hedge bordering the rear of her sprawling lawn. A gap technically exists between the imposing, strong greenery and the tall, wrought iron gate beyond it. Yet the two have become so entangled as to become a singular botanical cyborg of steel and foliage. There is no escape here. There is no passing traffic from which to seek rescue. She must find another place. Did she leave the door open? Where is the invader? Tracking Cassie as she moves silently behind the hedge. She looks for a spot through which she can see the house through the tangled mess of trees. Light shows through the hedge a few inches ahead. Cassie leans in and looks through. Cassie POV. The attacker walks slowly past her spot, looking into it. Cassie freezes. Her breath stops. He passes by. Hadn't seen her. Smash cut 2. Close-up, Cassie, profile. Cassie holds her breath for a second. 10 seconds. A minute. Cassie POV. The attacker passes back in front of her hiding place. 40 yards away now. Cassie exhales. The attacker walks to the gate leading to the courts, checks the area, walks slowly to the center of the massive yard. He stops, turns to the hedge, his posture relaxed.
Okay. You didn't leave through the front.
He puts his hammer into a loop on his pants. Christ, are those carpenter jeans? And removes a roll of duct tape from a carabiner attached to his belt.
Latch on the door in the stone fence over there. Doesn't open. Believe me, I tried.
Extreme close-up of attacker's hands. He unrolls an 18-inch strip of duct tape from the roll without tearing it and begins wrapping it around his right wrist. The sound of the unrolling duct tape is a horrible racket. It flies across the lawn to the hidden Cassie. The volume is an ominous testament to its strength. He continues to wrap his left wrist thickly. Layers cover layers that cover layers that cover the sleeve that covers his wrist.
That bike lock that my friend willed to me, it's still locked.
In one swift motion, he tears the tape, removes another long strip, begins wrapping his right wrist, layer upon shirt upon wrist. Back 2. Extreme close-up Cassie's face.
You didn't go back in the house.
Layer on top of layer on top of layer on top of layer. Snap. Cassie's POV. The attacker returns the roll to its designated spot via its designated holder. He removes several obscenely large zip ties from an oversized pocket.
So that must mean you're hiding behind that hedge.
He crosses his arms, raises 2 fingers on his empty hand.
This can only go 2 ways.
Medium close of attacker.
1, you come out, quietly. I do what I came to do.
A beat.
You get hurt, but you live. You haven't seen my face. I won't leave any evidence in you.
Sinisterly.
And I'll clean off any evidence I leave on you.
Over the shoulder of attacker.
2, you don't come out.
The attacker removes the hammer from its loop, regrips it in his free hand. He points the hammer toward the hedge. Cassie POV.
And I have to come in there and get you.
The strength runs from Cassie's body.
I might get cut a few times, but I'll bash the fuck out of you before you do any real damage.
The attacker relaxes, tilts his head.
And then you get hurt. And more hurt. And eventually, while I'm hurting you, you'll beg me not to let you live.
Over the shoulder of attacker.
Choice is yours, Sweets. You have 5 seconds.
The attacker straightens, readies himself.
1,
Cassie POV.
2,
Medium close of attacker.
3,
Overhead behind attacker.
4.
Cassie in profile, medium close. Cassie very slowly adopts a fighter stance, raises the rolling pin.
5.
Attacker in profile, wide. The attacker returns his zip ties to their pocket. Attacker adjusts his grip on the hammer. Cassie in profile, medium close. Cassie adjusts her grip on the rolling pin. Attacker in profile, wide.
Ready or not.
Cassie in profile, medium close.
Come on down, motherfucker.
Attacker in profile, wide. Camera tracks as he moves toward the hedge. He stops about 15 feet from the hedge, looking for a point of entry. Cassie searches for an advantage amongst her surroundings. She feels the rocks beneath her feet. There's a large one. As if stepping off a mine she hopes she has properly discharged, she lifts her foot, straightens it behind her in a crude approximation of a Warrior 3 pose, picking the rock from the ground. She carefully returns to a 2-footed standing position and waits. Wide over the shoulder of attacker. The attacker continues his Terminator scan of the hedge, sees no clear point of entry.
Fuck did she get back there?
Cassie reaches out the rolling pin as far as she can toward a slightly thick branch that grasps one of the fence's wrought iron vertical posts. She whacks it with the handle. Rattle. The attacker jerks his head in that direction as Cassie urgently returns to her position. He slides toward the location of the sound, slowly, keeping a safe distance between himself and his quarry's shelter. Ground level. The attacker takes a few careful steps, pauses, scans, resumes. The hedge is high, thick, impressive. It seems impossible for a human to slip through the greenery without a chainsaw. Cassie in profile, medium close. Cassie manipulates the rock, searching for the perfect grip. She finds it. Her eyes never leave the kaleidoscopic slivers of lawn in her view. She tosses the stone 5 feet further down the attacker's trajectory. The attacker takes the bait. His body eclipses the light of the house, and Cassie holds her breath anew. She waits. The attacker passes. Cassie waits. Refuses her body's demand to exhale. His hand swipes through the night sky, through the hedge, through the empty space where a beautiful knife-wielding young woman should be. He overswings, stumbles, falls forward. The object he expected to strike isn't there. His body catches on the tangle of intentionally gnarled branches. Cassie seizes her moment. She dives forward, swinging the rolling pin like a carnival strongman's hammer. It connects with the attacker's wrist. The sound of bones breaking is cut off by the attacker's shocked screams. Cassie, gripping the rolling pin for dear life, attempts a clean jump through the hedge, becomes briefly entangled, struggles. She frees herself, but makes no progress before the writhing attacker kicks her hard with his heel, making contact with the lower half of her right knee. Her piercing scream swallows the attacker's bellows. She falls, grabbing her knee with her unoccupied hand.
Ah! You dickless fuck!
She rises to her feet and hobbles, badly, for the relative safety of the open patio door as the attacker carefully frees himself from his trap. He reaches his good hand through the awful dream catcher and retrieves his hammer.